All right, today I want to talk about a very big and important topic currently going on in 2XAO, and that is everyone recognizing the defensive meta that is being represented at high level play, and honestly, a lot of skill levels currently. Right now, if you look at a lot of high level 2XAO, you will see players backdashing away from each other and playing very passive in general, kind of running away, and really only taking extremely safe interactions. And matches are tending to take like a pretty long time right now because of that. I think a lot of people don't properly understand what all is leading to the game playing the way it is right now. And I think it's actually a lot deeper than most people think. A lot of people right now are focused on backdashing being too strong. Like backdashes are the core issue. And I won't tell you that they're not contributing or anything, but I don't actually think that they're the heart of the problem. So today we're going to take a look at every single aspect that is leading the game to play the way that it does, at least in my opinion. All right, so like I said, the first problem that most people are going to bring up is backdashing being very strong in this game, right? It is actually really hard to chase people who are backdash spamming. A lot of characters actually don't even run fast enough. Like if you look at like Braum or Blitzrank, they don't even run fast enough to catch characters who are just backdashing, right? Obviously, you know, for most characters, you will catch up eventually, but in general, backdashing is a very strong defensive tactic right now. Naturally, it's a team game, so you know you really want to play neutral using your assists, and that's how we see most people play this game. And that is not like intrinsically a problem or anything, but I think there's actually a lot more that contributes to this being a problem than most people think. I think it's more so the things that we're doing while backdashing or after backdashing that are really causing problems. So the first one is how fast most assists come on the screen. So for example, you know, one of the best assists in the game, if not the best assist, is Echo's My Time. This is kind of like a meme in the community. This assist is incredibly fast. It's actually really hard to react to this, even with like a parry or something. Even if you wanted to parry Echo coming on the screen, it's so fast that you're just not going to get it most of the time. And if you wanted to like hit him with something like a 5M or something on reaction, good luck. You're not going to do that, right? It's not just Echo assist that is like this. You have like Teemo's back assist, which is a projectile. This is also very fast. It comes on the screen, I think, in 15 frames. Obviously that's like travel time and stuff like that. Even like R8's assist, like her forward assist, for example, is similarly the same speed as Echo's forward assist. So in a lot of cases, a lot of these assists are just too fast to be able to react to, and it makes them very effective tools for either using in scrambles or using just as like a neutral poke, because you can't really punish them on reaction. So I think part of the problem is the speed and safety of these assist calls. It's like way too hard to actually properly interact with some of these. And another thing that I think leads to this issue is where does assist appear on the screen when you call them? So using Teemo as an example, when you call Teemo assist, he appears behind your character, meaning that, you know, as the person on the other side of the screen, you don't really have a way to hit Teemo with anything. If I wanted to stop the Teemo call here with like a projectile or something, I can't do that, right? It's just not going to work because the other character is going to block the projectile and then Teemo's going to punish you. Teemo is kind of an egregious example because he appears literally behind you. But even if you look at something like Echo Assist, when you call Echo initially, he appears on your character, right? He doesn't extend himself until the hitbox portion of his assist is coming out. So it means that calling an assist as a poke or, you know, just in scrambles is actually really safe because they don't put themselves in harm's way until they already have a hitbox ready to go. It's not just the speed of the assist either. I honestly feel like sometimes the hurt boxes on assists just don't work the way that you would like them to. So using Yasuo assist as an example, this assist is relatively slow compared to most other assists, but it's actually really hard to hit this assist with like a neutral poke because the way his hurt box works, he ends up going behind you actually very fast. So poking this with something in neutral just doesn't end up working the way that you would like it to. So I think a lot of this just comes down to the fact that assists are actually too hard to counter directly right now, and that's leading to part of this problem for sure. The next thing that makes this problematic is the assist cooldowns. So when your assist disappears from the screen, they start regenerating immediately, and the assist cooldown by default is 2 seconds long, which is not very long at all, because, you know, if you think about it, you call like your assist, and your assist does whatever they do, they control space on the screen, whatever. And that's not really the end of the assist character, right? Because in this game, we also have the ability to handshake tag. And the assist characters actually stay on the screen for a pretty long time. So that means as long as that character is on the screen, they're technically doing something for you, right? At any point in the situation, if I call Teemo, I can like throw a Time Winder and then tag to Teemo and then do something afterwards, right? anytime the character is on the screen, everything you do is riskier because your opponent can tag on reaction, which is another problem that I'll talk about in a moment. But the cooldown itself, once the character disappears, is actually so fast that it does not take very long to just backdash away for 2 seconds to get them back. And this isn't really just the problem with backdashing. Even characters that have like slow backdashes, they do this because getting your assist back is so fast. Even if you play Braum or Blitzcrank, which are not even characters who you would associate with playing defensive, they still do this. Now, to an extent, like I said, this is just kind of the name of team games. You know, you want your assists to do everything. But I think the fact that your assists come back so fast means that calling assists like incorrectly doesn't feel as detrimental as you might think, because you get it back so quickly, you can just kind of waste time for a second or two and then try to do it again until it works out for you. And like I was just mentioning, another thing that is very annoying about assists in this game, and one thing that makes countering a lot of different neutral gameplay patterns very difficult, is how low commitment tagging can be. So let's say you wanted to like jump in and punish an Echo player for throwing like Time Winder or something, right? In this case, if I think they're gonna do it and I jump over their Time Winder, their assist is on the screen, or they can just call the assist even on reaction, and then they can tag to their other character and anti-air me in this case, right? So if I were to try to do it like the other way around, and I'm gonna like throw Time Winder and call Ari, I should call forward assist on. Right? Bare minimum, I can just tag on reaction and anti-air my opponent. I didn't even call the assist preemptively. Like, I can literally call my assist on reaction to them jumping, tag to them, and then parry the jump in. So, you know, obviously this takes practice, but assists come out so fast and tagging is so fast that oftentimes the counterplay to certain situations you can just punish by tagging on reaction. Even if we wanted to use like a different example, let's say like my Ari assist as someone is already jumping. So like I do this, or let me do it like this. So now I can just tag to Ari who's behind the opponent who jumped in on me, and I actually get to like punish them in this case because they're committing to their jump in already. And I called my assist long before they jumped, and now I get to just take advantage of it because of how fast that action is. And this gets actually more ridiculous than just that. So another thing about handshake tagging that is super duper strong, and I really think genuinely, even if you think the defensive meta is cool and all that, I think this should be changed. Handshake tagging is basically instantaneous. So in this example, I'm gonna have Echo dash up after calling Teemo, and I have him blocking and mashing tag, as you can see with the input history. So after I get Echo to block, I'm gonna try to do a frame trap. And doing my frame trap, they tag to their other character. And at no point is the Echo player, the one that I have blocking, they're not taking a risk in this situation. They're literally just mashing tag. Nothing bad will happen to them outside of they tag to the other character. And it's so fast that, you know, even if I tried to go for like a throw or something, in that case, the Teemo could react to the fact that I'm whiffing throw and just run up and punish me, right? Let's say I want to go for like an overhead or something. They can react to the fact that my overhead is going to essentially whiff and then punish me for it. So having your character on the screen just ends up making so many actions so much more lower commitment than anything else. Now, in this case, you know, the assist cooldown is 4 seconds because technically, you know, it's 2x assist. So technically Teemo's doing a second assist and then tagging. But for anyone who's playing freestyle or double down, their assist cooldown will still just be 2 seconds for doing this. So it's not like you're taking much risk, right? Even if they swap the Teemo and I didn't commit to anything, they just backdash for 2 seconds and they have their assist back. The next thing I want to talk about with assists that I think lead to a lot of just not necessarily camping problems or like defensive play problems, but I think it just makes a lot of annoying situations that are frustrating. Assists block the screen. So if Echo here is like backdashing or whatever, right? If I try to chase him, the screen continues to pull with him, right? But if I call my Echo assist before dashing, my Echo assist actually blocks the screen for a time period. And this leads to all sorts of things. Obviously, in this case, it technically helps you approach the opponent, right? Because it makes it way easier to chase them down, which is technically good. But I think this is kind of like whack counterplay to the situation. I don't think this should be the main thing that you're looking to do. And on top of this, it actually causes a lot of weird problems. So in this case, I'm going to use Ari's back assist to do the same thing. And I'm going to do Echo Super. And notice how it just doesn't combo properly, because the screen isn't actually pulling alongside the Time Winder Super. There's all sorts of things like this where combos either work or don't work because of assist holding the screen. And something that also causes problems in this regard is assist characters blocking you from moving. So I'm going back to Yasuo assist here to show this. As I was just showing, hitting Yasuo assist is already like kind of difficult because he tends to just like run past your button as you swing. So hitting it preemptively is kind of hard to do. So, if we just let it happen, it actually makes it so much harder to chase down the opposing character. Not only could they just handshake tag the Yasuo at literally any point, this could cause problems, but even if they don't, just trying to run past it doesn't work because they body block you. Now, of course, you could try to, punish the assist and do some damage, but as I just mentioned, they can handshake tag and that will cause problems. But even if you try to hit them, Echo could just dash up and throw Time Winder or do Super to punish you for hitting Yasuo. It's actually really easy in this game to punish people for hitting your assist character, because you can't jump cancel unless you're airborne, or hitting an airborne opponent, rather. So the second I start hitting Yasuo here, I'm just committing to a ground string, so it's not hard for the other character who's free right now to punish you for doing that. On top of this, another very common thing that you see people try to do right now is parry assists. So if I run up and try to parry Yasuo, if he is behind me, like he is here, he's going to stream lock, which is actually kind of good, but this only applies to Yasuo, right? Most other assists don't go through you, they're always going to be in front of you. So if they're in front of you, when I parry them, they still body block you. They don't give you the opportunity to run in and do anything, right? So using Echo Assist, because Echo Assist doesn't cross up on block. If I parry this, it hits Yasuo, right? It knocks Yasuo back, which is technically a good thing. Oh my god, it's so fast I can't even parry and bring it up. Right? But I can't really run in and apply pressure. So all I really get to do is hit the assist for a couple of hits before they get back up. But you really only get 2 or 3 hits before the opposing character is back up, and you have to worry about them hitting you for hitting their assist character. So this body blocking causes a lot of issues, again, where it's harder to chase people because the character ends up just getting in the way a lot of the time. The other thing that really leads to this is assists end up actually leading to pretty good damage on their own. So, in the case of calling Echo Assist or something, this can actually lead to pretty reasonable damage. Obviously, this is not as good as a starter as hitting somebody like your point character, but 320 damage for a very basic combo is plenty enough in this game. I could actually 2-touch Yasuo from this health total. So assists and handshake tagging also lead to pretty good situations on hit, because you oftentimes just get your character's best combo starter anyways. So in this case, I can do a super combo with Echo and get even more damage from it. So in this situation, I'm ending up doing over 400 damage. And I didn't even do an optimal combo here. So assists are also a very safe way to get pretty meaningful damage and Oki without really having to commit, because if it hits the opponent, you can always just handshake tag, right? So assists end up being good starters, so you're not even that encouraged to hit somebody with your point character, because you get plenty enough reward from the assist being the starter anyways. And even using assists mid-combo end up not actually scaling very much. So, for example, Ahri's down projectile like this is actually a really good combo starter. So if I do something like this into Echo Assist, it ends up doing a lot of damage. A lot, right? I spent no meter and I did almost 450 damage, and that wasn't even optimal. So using assists as an extension of your character also ends up being extremely rewarding. Now, another thing I want to talk about, and this is something that oftentimes people who play team games like to just say that this is just how team games work, so it's always going to be this way. But one problem I have with a lot of team games, and I think it's actually really contributing to this issue in 2XAO, is that assists don't go away when the point character gets hit. So I'm using Teemo Assist for this again, which is probably the most egregious example of this, but it can apply to a lot of other assists, especially projectile assists. If I read that my opponent is going to run at me and I hit them or something, even if I hit the point character, Teemo Assist will still continue to come out and then punish me, and then the point character actually gets a combo here. And again, this doesn't just apply to a Teemo Assist, this applies to a lot of them. And there's just a lot of scramble type situations where even assists that aren't projectiles can end up combo breaking because you hit the point character and then the assist ends up hitting you. This is something I really don't like about any team game, and it's not in every team game either. Games like PBFC and I believe Marvel 2. Assists go away when you hit the point character, but in a lot of other team games, they don't. And I think it leads to a lot of really frustrating gameplay situations, because oftentimes the only way to, not get punished in these situations is just to avoid them, which is, by the way, part of the reason why people do just back away all the time, because they don't want to get involved in these very toxic assist situations that don't really have strong counterplay. But it also means that, oftentimes the way that you might want to avoid this is just jumping over the opponent or something. But as I was just mentioning, if I jump over Echo here, they just handshake tag the Teemo and I'm still stuck anyways, right? So I do believe that assisting out on hit is also really contributing to a lot of these problems as well. Now, the next thing I want to talk about actually doesn't have to do with assists at all, but it is absolutely another thing that is contributing to the defensive playstyles, and that is how strong up backing is. So currently, jumping is actually the fastest defensive option in the game. Like mashing your fastest button, most characters, their jab is 6 frame startup, but jumping is actually only 4 frames. It takes 4 frames to get off of the ground. So jumping is already just faster than anything else that you could do in the game. And while you're jumping, it's actually really hard to chase people that are jumping in a way that feels effective, right? If I wanted to chase an Echo just holding it back here, right? Not only do I have to run across the known universe to actually catch them, but on top of this, you know, they could just call an assist that you might have to run into. And assists are so fast that I'm not able to like run at them, look for the assist call, and then try to punish it, right? So if they do this and call Teemo at some point, I'm running the liability of just like accidentally running into Teemo. And the assist will actually end up body blocking you a lot of the time. Not as like Teemo because he appears behind the character, but if I were to flip things around here, if I were to have like Teemo as the one on the screen, and then we call Echo assist instead, so something like this, you'll notice how Echo like immediately is stopping me from chasing Teemo, right? So it might cause my button to not hit him. I might even hit Echo, but I'm not going to hit Teemo, which means now I'm here stuck, you know, kind of committing to a button on whiff, and I have to either cancel or do some type of RPS to not get punished by the point character because they're body blocking you. That's assuming I even hit the Echo assist. I probably doesn't get hit by it most of the time. There's not really a good way to stop somebody from doing this. If I run up and 2H them, I don't get anything for this. I don't start offense or anything, right? And on top of this, air daring the opponent is actually really hard to do in a way that doesn't end up getting you punished. So like in this situation, that JM I did is going to end up whiffing. And I'm not going to actually be at advantage to do anything. And in fact, I'll probably be like minus if I accidentally end up like trying to air somebody and like it whiffs like that. I'm going to get punished there. I would have gotten punished if the Teemo just landed and pressed jab or something. So it's actually really hard to like get an up backing opponent to like actually have to block something. And one of the biggest issues with this is landing cancels block stun. So let me show you a good example. So for this example, I have Vi here and I have her set to do her 5S1. And at this spacing, this move is roughly about -3 or -4 usually. And a lot of times, you know, Vi players will use this to try to get into neutral and they'll like call their assist or something afterward. In this game, if you air block something and you land, it actually cancels the block stun that you have while you're landing. So depending on the timing of these things, I'm just using it as an example, by the way. See there, I was plus 13. Plus 13 when I air blocked this move. So that's a pretty extreme example, right? But because of this, I actually get to punish them. This action that would normally be -3 is -13 instead, because landing just cancels your block stun. So there, I was still pretty high up and I was +6 instead of +3. In this example, like this move specifically doesn't matter that much, but this can apply to situations when you're holding up back defensively. Let's say, for example, I have Vi set to do up back like this, right? And I, as Ari, I'm going to try to do something like this. Did you see that? Did you see that number? I was -13 for air to airing my opponent on blocking, right? So there I was +5. I had some frame advantage. There I should have frame advantage as well because I'm hitting them on the way down. There I'm punished. -15. They could punish me with a medium normal if they wanted to. So because of this interaction, both being hard to make somebody block something in the first place and the fact that a lot of the time they're going to cancel their block stun on landing, this makes defensive up backing way too strong and you end up getting punished most of the time for trying to do this. So another issue with this is specifically if you end up in a situation where you jump over your opponent's assist in neutral. Notice how I made them block something, like I made them block my jump in, but I can't actually punish them because they land cancel the block stun and then just tag to their other character because you can tag instantaneously after leaving block stun. This makes situations like this where you finally get the opponent stuck in neutral. Like I'm not even gonna get punished, right? I'm just gonna get offense. I don't actually get offense because their assist is behind me and they're just gonna mash tag very safely. If I do end up getting a true block string, then, you know, they just won't even get the tag. I'm surprised there was even a gap there. I didn't even try to leave a gap. I left like 1 frame of a gap and they end up tagging. What I'm really getting at is a lot of these types of interactions with assists and up backing are actually way more prevalent and common than you think. and it leads to so many more frustrations than you probably initially think. It's very easy to see like backdash spam and be like, oh, that's the problem. But it's actually so many things in regards to how assists and tagging work and how upbacking works. Those are the things that are really leading to the problem. The last thing that I think really contributes to this is air specials. Using like Echo as an example, this is not a game that has a lot of air actions. Like, most characters don't have double jumps or air dashes. Characters like Ari and Echo are kind of unique in that example. But most characters have an air special or two, and most of them will like stall your momentum or change your air trajectory in some way, right? The thing about these is there's two problems. One, they tend to be way stronger defensively than they are offensively. So for example, Echo jumping in and doing this, it will often just get 2H'd or lose to an air-to-air or something like that, just like any other jump in, right? It's not that effective for an anti-air bait. But doing it defensively, it kind of works as a defensive wall. If I set her to just like try to run up and like try to press a button on my landing, she's going to end up running into either the move itself or my assist afterwards, right? This is a way more effective wall than it is an approach tool, because I know you're thinking like, well, what if she just did run up 2H? Well, she does run up 2H and I don't do it. I just hold up back like this and I end up calling my assist. She's getting whiff punished for it, right? On top of this, most of these air specials tend to be actually pretty good combo starters. So in the case of Echo, if I do this and then call Ari afterwards, you actually take a lot of damage for getting hit by this. Right, like I'm not even doing like the best combo and it's doing basically 500 damage. This applies for most of them. Like I said, this Ari special also has the same thing. If you try to approach Ari, if you try to like run at her or something, and she ends up doing something like this and it calls her assist, as I was showing earlier, you take a bunch of damage for this. So the strength of air specials defensively and being good combo starters, and the fact that assists don't scale very much, mean that these strategies are really hard to deal with and really rewarding. All of these things really lead to you just wondering, why would you approach in the first place when you can do everything that you would want just playing defensively? One thing I didn't mention is, obviously, when it comes to playing defensively, even if the opponent ends up blocking something in neutral, I don't have to approach my opponent to take advantage. I can do something like this. Call Echo Assist, and then handshake tag, and then get offense that way. If that offense doesn't work, right? Like if I do something like this, and I call Echo, and like my frame traps don't work out, just go back to doing this for 2 seconds. 2 or 4 seconds, depending on if you use 2x assist or not, right? Go back to doing that for 2 seconds, try to do it again. It's very easy to take advantage of all these situations due to how good assists and tagging are as well. So you never have to put yourself in harm's way. And then the problem is these strategies of using assists are so hard to interact with due to everything that we just mentioned. I think being able to play defensively is cool. I think it's like a good thing to have in the game, and when it comes to team games, they often are played defensively. So I don't think it's like inherently a problem. And honestly, in this video, I'm not even trying to convince you that it is a problem. I'm more so trying to explain why it is the current prime strategy that you see a lot of players abusing. And I think a lot of these things don't tend to get talked about as much, because they don't seem as obviously tied to the issue. I think defensive play is cool, especially in this type of game, because offense is very strong. The fact that you can outmaneuver people and run away and avoid bad situations, I actually think is good to some extent, because the last thing you want is the game to be all about forcing RPS and that being its own frustration. I think the problem more so is when it comes to any type of play style, whether it's defensive or offensive, you want it to have counterplay and you want it to be interactable. Basically what I'm getting at is I think defensive play is cool, and it would be way more cool if there was more counterplay to it and it was more interactable. In any case, those are just my very long and elaborate thoughts on this matter. This is probably going to be one of the longer videos I've ever put out, but I felt a lot of these things really felt worth doing a deep dive and analyzing a lot of them. Of course, I would like to know down in the comments below, how do you guys feel about all of this? And in general, do you guys like longer videos like this where we just do very deep analysis on different parts of fighting games? I really like doing this type of thing, so if you're into it, let me know. Either way, I think I've talked long enough. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.